Hey gang, Christos here with Better at BI, and I am working on something, and it also is Friday, and so I thought, perfect. I called a timeout on this other project. I'm going to go to my Power BI screen in a second, and I want to talk to you about manipulating the X or Y axis just a little bit so that you can either space out a line chart or see the entire text of a category field. So let's go to Power BI and let me show you what I'm talking about. So here we are again looking at the crash data. Again, this is publicly available data from the City of Cincinnati's portal. So on the left over here, you can kind of see you can see the categories, but you can barely make them out, right? And over here on the right-hand side, you can see what's supposed to be a line chart, but it's kind of you can barely tell what's going on here, right? Now, part of that is, of course, because the margins are super from 2012 to 2021, and if we make a change like this, things are going to change a little bit, right? So let's go back out though for a second. So so if we want to see how, if we want to expand this a little bit, one option, of course, is to just make the whole chart like take up the entire screen. But you know that doesn't really help us out. So I'm going to go over here to this little paintbrush, to the format option, and I'm going to go to the y-axis for just a second. And I'm going to select maximum size. Now, if I scroll that over, so if I go from the 15, so 15 gives me 01 NOTA. But if I go all the way over to 50, now I can see the entire text. Right? So I don't have to change the box. I can see the entire text. But more importantly, it does change my bar length a little bit, but it allows my users to see more of what's going on. Now I can also change the font size, of course, and I can change um, the formatting, the positioning, if you will. But I'm going to leave it like that for right now. I also like to be able to, if you wanted to, you can make a change here to category length. You see that? Like I took it all the way to the max. Instead of seeing everything on my screen, you basically have to scroll down now to see it. Not very effective, of course. So I went back to this. Now let's go to the date for 1 second. So again, you can see it's kind of bonkers. Now you would think, well, we could do the same thing over here, over on the X or the Y axis, and like you could make some changes and spread it out, but you can't. It doesn't work that way yet in Power BI. I understand that there's a lot of folks who are requesting this. So one of the little tips that I know of is, so this is the crash date that I'm using. Okay, I'm gonna hit this drop down box, and you can see I selected the actual date time field, right? So the Power BI is looking at this in its exact date form, right? If you're a Tableau person, you know you can choose exact date, or you can make this into a hierarchy. So in Power BI, I'm going to select date hierarchy. Now watch what happens when I do that. Boom. This now gives me a more realistic um, line chart. So now, and of course, it's all filterable, right? But now I have, as a consumer, I can see exactly what my categories are over here. And my line chart is a little more realistic. Now, this is at the year, but we can, if we wanted to, we can change the hierarchy. Um, we can change. Oop, I'm on the wrong thing. We can change this. We can get rid of. We can get rid of uh, uh, um, some of these things, right? And just go with just date. I'm going to undo that for a second. But if we change our date range a little bit, you can kind of see that it goes by year. But now watch what happens. So let me go back. I'm just going to select 2019 to 2021. So if I use these little buttons, right, it will automatically break it down for me. I'm going to go back up a second. Now, if I do this, right, it expands all the way down to the hierarchy. If I go back up, so let me go to broader date range, and now I'm going to select this double arrow, and now I'm looking at each month, but this is each month, not each year month, all right? If I go to this button here, doink, now I've got year and month. But again, I'm selecting a pretty big date range. So let me do this here. Now I'm doing year and month for the crash date selected. So again, that's a quick tip for Power BI. Today's Friday and PBIF. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you have a better way of doing this. I'd also love to know if there's something out there that that you all would like me to touch upon on a deeper dive in one of my other videos or just on one of these PBIFs. So again, my name is Christos. Hit like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, comment down below. I'm here to help everyone be better at BI. I'll talk to you later.